tired of losing the same 10 to 30 pounds over and over again just to gain it all back when work gets hectic? And what if I told you that weight loss actually wasn't the real problem? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 3 exact shifts I'd make if I was 20 pounds overweight, low energy, super stressed out, and still grinding 60 plus hours a week in sports sales. So if you want the system that actually sticks without sacrificing your lifestyle, make sure to stick around for the rest of this video. And for some of you who are maybe new to my world or maybe don't know who I am just yet, my name is Tyler Jones, and I got my start in the sports industry working in the NFL doing ticket sales. Now I help sports business professionals, former athletes, and high performers like you drop stubborn belly fat, feel confident again, and build a system that they can actually sustain year round. So let's jump right into the meat and potatoes, guys. So shift number 1 I want to share with you is stop trying to be perfect and focus on being effective. You know, one of the biggest mistakes that I see most people that work in the sports industry make is they think they need to be all in or don't do it at all, right? All in being 5 to 6 workouts, clean eating, not eating out any fast food. And, that's the bare minimum and nothing less than that. And it's kind of like trying to hit a quota, right? By only making 100 calls a day. But you're never refining your pitch, right? You're never refining what you're actually saying to your prospects. And most people think just because they do more effort, that means they're going to equal better results. And that is simply just not the case. And I thought the same thing. And that led me to being, 30 pounds overweight in, 4 to 5 months just by trying to be all in all the time, because a lot of times it just leaves you stressed out, exhausted, and super low energy and just overwhelmed to the point where you just don't want to do anything at all, which makes it hard to be consistent. So the shift I want to give you guys is instead of 5 to 6 workouts a week, focus on maybe 3 full body workouts or a push pull legs workout, 3 times a week. And, each session should be about, on average, like 40 minutes, give or take 45 with warm-ups. Focus on intensity and not volume, right? Because again, I do see a lot of, former athletes, especially in the sports world, they focus a lot on, high volume and like doing a lot of, reps and low weight. But guys, just like with anything in life, the more you do something, the easier your body is going to get used to it. And the same thing goes for your weightlifting. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, your body's not going to grow and adapt as it should when it comes to especially building muscle and losing fat. So you got to focus on really pushing the weight and the intensity and trying to go up each week so you see consistent results. So real quick, I want to give you guys a sample 3-day push-pull leg split so you kind of have an idea of at least where to start. So before I go into this, the men, you should stick between the 6 to 10 rep range to build strength and muscle. And for women, you want to stick between the 8 to 12 reps range to just tone and shape without bulking up. So day number 1 is push focus. Focus on, your dumbbell bench press, which is a compound movement. And you guys see the reps listed right there. And overhead dumbbell shoulder press, incline chest fly, push-ups or incline push-ups, cable tricep extension. And just by following this, guys, you should be in and out of the gym within like 35, 40 minutes, if that. And again, just really focus on progressive overload and going up in your weight each week. And for your day, for like your pull day, which is like more of your back and your back and your rear delts and your bicep. This was more tricep, chest, and shoulder focus. You have your lat pull down or assisted pull up, dumbbell rows, seated cable rows, hammer curls, face pulls. And then for day 3, you have your legs and your core. You have your goblet squats, your Bulgarian split squats, glute bridges, Romanian deadlifts, and you have your hanging leg raises or your lying leg raises for your core aspect. All right, guys, let's go to number 2, which is ditch the clean eating and learn how to fuel. A common mistake, again, I see most sports business professionals make is that they're skipping meals, right? Whether it's due to the long hours, maybe forgetting, they're cutting out carbs, right? If I just eat less carbs, I'll be able to lose, weight and fat, or they're eating plain chicken and calling it discipline, right? I always say people always fall into the trap of eating Monday through Friday clean and then, which goes to then binging on the weekend, right? And especially when it comes to cheat meals, right? It's like when you are all putting all your eggs in one basket on the weekend for one meal, you're going to tend to go overboard because that's your only time throughout the week that you're going to get it. And that actually resonates with one of my clients, Josh, who, he's down like 8 pounds in his first 3 weeks and he's been kicking ass. But before joining my program and working with me, he actually found out that, that was his cycle. He'd be good during the week, monitor eating clean, and then on the weekends, that's where he would snack, have a lot of sweets, or, go crazy when he, went out to dinner with his family. And he always just felt stuck in that cycle, which then made him gain a lot of weight in such a short amount of time after being, a college track athlete and, working out year round. So, and shout out to you, Josh. I know you're crushing it right now, and I can't wait for people to see your transformation. So, and again, just to give you guys another idea of it, right? It's like trying to drive a car, especially when your nutrition's not on place. It's you're trying to drive a car without the right oil in the engine, and eventually it's probably going to break down once you get down the street. So think of your nutrition as your fuel of like keeping your energy high and seeing consistent results. If you're not going about it in the right way that's sustainable for you, you're naturally going to fall off, or just give up and then probably restart a couple months down the road and kind of be stuck in this inconsistent stop start cycle. So the shift that you can make is you track your food 6 days a week, guys. And here's a link to a calculator. Redirecting. um, and you can calculate your macros for free, guys. You can put your, if you're male, female, and then put like how many hours of exercise you're doing a week and what's your goal. And you can pick. I would always say you don't have to really do low carb or like high protein. I always say like a basic is staying balanced. So you have a little bit of everything, especially when you're starting out. So you guys can go to that link and figure out what your macros are. And I recommend putting them in an app like MyFitnessPal, so you can track your food just to see like actually how much you're eating on a daily basis, and are you actually hitting the goals and the targets you need to hit, because nutrition is 70-80% of the game. And then you want to focus on protein, right? You want to do about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Or if you want to simplify the process a little bit more, if you're trying to lose, say, 30 to 40 pounds, say if you're like 200 pounds, you want to get to 160 pounds, that can actually, if that's your goal weight, you can actually do that in grams of protein per day as well. So you just do 160 grams of protein per day. And I always say, like, guys, allow flexibility. Have dinners out, your stadium food, right? If you're going out to a happy hour or, meeting up with a client, and that's within your targets, right? As long as you're following like the 80-20 approach, which is 80% of the time have clean home cooked meals, 20% of the time have fun, you will actually stay on track. and as long as you're falling within the calorie number. And guys, just to preface this, this calculator is going to give you a ballpark, right? Like I do a different setup and formula that I do for my clients to give them the exact calories, protein and overall macros they need on a daily basis. So this will give you a ballpark. It's better than nothing. And on top of that, just remember your calories are going to change over time. What you were once maybe at 200, say you lose 20 pounds, you're going to have to recalculate your calories along the way to get to the 160, right? It's going to change as your goals start to change. So, and then lastly, shift number 3, guys, is measure your progress by your habits, not just your weight. Weighing yourself daily, but you're ignoring your sleep, your energy, your consistency, and your measurements is a big mistake I see people make, because weight at the end of the day, guys, is one part of the puzzle. That's why for me and my clients, I always measure their progress by their weights, their progress photos, and their body measurements, just to show, again, that they're seeing the whole picture view, because the weight and the number on the scale is not always going to tell you the full story. It's going to tell you a part of it, because not all weight is bad weight, guys. It's also your muscle mass, your bones, your water weight, the food you just ate. So it's a bunch, in the body fat you have, but it's just a bunch of different factors involved in that overall number. So you want to make sure you're not ignoring the other metrics as well. And again, it's kind of like obsessing over your revenue, but not looking at your pipeline, right? It's kind of like, again, always obsessing over the result, but not looking at like what are the makeups of that result or what's actually going on behind the scenes. So the shift I want you to make is like track, 3 KPIs or 3 main things that you really want to focus on, right? You could do consistency. How much are you like tracking how many workouts a week you're doing, how tracking how consistent you are with your nutrition. And then also, your energy, right? I always say like a good way to track is like getting good sleep, as many nights as you possibly can throughout the week. And then also how do your clothes fit? And I always say measuring tape, right? That's one thing I do in my coaching with my clients is I always have them do measurements, probably once, mostly on the end, twice every other week, so twice a month, just so they can see how they're doing from a fat loss perspective, guys. Because again, weight doesn't automatically equal fat loss, right? It's a bunch of different things, like I said. So when you kind of have these KPIs and like things that you're going to track and be aware of, weight will follow when you focus on the inputs because that ultimately dictates the outputs, guys. So I hope this video was super helpful for you. Those are the 3 shifts I would make if I was, again, 20 pounds overweight in sports sales all over again. And by doing these simple 3 shifts, guys, you will see results, right? You'll see results pretty quickly as long as you stay consistent and stick to them. Because, again, once I made these same shifts, I lost that same 30 pounds that I gained in 4 months over the next 4 months and got back to my lean, athletic, confident self. And that actually started helping me propel in my career and actually closing more deals and being more successful. So if this video was super helpful for you, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to send this to somebody that you feel maybe needs to see this breakdown as well. And if you're someone who, has been doing it on your own and you're, still want to do it on your own, I encourage you to, keep following me for more info on these trainings because this info is going to help you and hopefully you get to your goal on your own. That's what it's all about. I hope you do succeed no matter what. But if you're someone who's actually been trying it on your own and maybe not seeing the results that you ideally want, feel like you're spinning your wheels and struggling to lose stubborn fat, make sure to click the link below in the bio, and take a look at how the whole system that I have, that I help my clients lose anywhere from 10 to 30 pounds of stubborn fat in under 5 hours a week. And if it makes sense, we can take that next step in the process and see if we'd be a fit to work together. And as always, family, I'll talk to you soon and see you in the next video.